than to be caught off guard with the system, especially with the storm surge. Rainfall is always an issue with these tropical systems, and look at this. This is no difference with Michael. In the orange here, 6 to 10 inches of rainfall, stretching even from Tallahassee up through central portions of Georgia. In the yellow, 4 to 6 inches, just a lot of rainfall. Some places could get 12 inches of rain before it's all said and done. So saturated soils and the high winds of a major hurricane, potentially a Category 3 here, that can knock down some trees and power lines, just a lot of associated impacts. So it's time to get ready. You got to know your risk. You got to know your vulnerability. Listen to the local officials. They're going to be, we're communicating them. They're going to be looking at this constantly and start looking at where we need to get out of the way here. So you got to protect yourselves from that water. I wanted to take us over to Dan Brown, because Dan's actually been the one issuing the forecast for Michael. Dan, as you've been on the hot seat here, a couple different things. We've got the aircraft out there. What's the aircraft been seeing?
Yeah, aircraft has been flying this morning. They actually reported seeing an eye wall this morning. We had confirmation of that with some satellite imagery that we can get. And the system's become better organized. Like you mentioned a few minutes ago, aircraft has found winds to support hurricane strength. So that's why we upgraded it here this morning, and conditions look favorable for further strengthening. So we do think it's going to strengthen over the next 24 to 36 hours, perhaps quite rapidly.
Yeah, back behind you have the satellite, and when you see that, the many years you've been here, well, I mean, the structure is looking pretty good, right? I mean, it's really getting cranked up.
Absolutely. It has now an inner core, and it looks like the environment's getting, it's going to be good enough for strengthening. And again, we're thinking actually rapid strengthening, at least over the next 24 hours or so.
Okay, thanks, Dan. So there you have it. We're looking at a dangerous hurricane, potentially, looking at a major hurricane impacting the Florida Panhandle. But remember, it's not just that. There's 30 miles away from the center right now, hurricane force winds. 175 miles away, you got tropical storm force winds. So you can't just think the center. You can't think just that center point of landfall. You have to think bigger. And the storm surge, like I mentioned, half of the fatalities occur with the storm surge. We have to be ready for it. Know your risk. Take steps now to protect yourself, and other values as well. Not just on the coast. Some of this storm surge could sneak inward into rivers and inlets. So be careful about that. Know your risk. Take steps now to be prepared. This has been Ken Graham here at the National Hurricane Center, live in our operations area.